not been easy, and I know that it won't be easy. Because fascism is on the rise, Trump is in office.
It's socialism in the motherfucking house!
And it's got some in the media saying game over for establishment Democrats.
The revolution is being televised. That's what I make of it. The Mamdani phenomenon is not a one-guy thing, and the roof is collapsing on the Democratic Party establishment tonight.
It's going to allow everybody to go, oh, they're going to look at New York City and go, oh, the Democratic Party is so far left. If you want to blame anybody for what happened last night, my opinion, if you want to blame anybody, Jonathan, I think you have to blame Benjamin Netanyahu.
A lot of people, and you know this too, you live in LA. The number one thing they're saying is, why can't we have a Mamdani?
That's what they're saying.
And it's about energy.
This is hopefully going to sweep the entire country.
You've had a heck of a week. I mean, the election, the candidates you endorsed won down the line, and you knocked off 2 Democratic incumbent members of Congress. Is this like a unique moment in New York, or is this the beginning of a national movement?
I think we are seeing a hunger that is not just felt by New Yorkers, but frankly by Americans from coast to coast for a new kind of politics, one that puts working people at the heart of it. And I think for far too long, what we as a party have been able to say to New Yorkers who are struggling is simply to explain why they're struggling, not actually offer them a vision for how to make life better. And these candidates, Brad, Daria Lisa, Claire, they ran campaigns that spoke to working people and that said life in the nation's most expensive city need not be this way any longer. And I can't wait to have them as partners in DC in that work.
And tenants celebrate after a vote tonight to freeze the rent. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson. That decision impacts about 2 million New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized apartments. The board took action to freeze 1- and 2-year leases, something the panel has never done before. But as Andrew Ramos reports, some say it could have long-term repercussions.
We have not updated our renter protections since they were first established over 40 years ago.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says relief for renters is long overdue. He introduced the Protecting Renters Ordinance in the Housing Committee Monday.
I feel like it would put renters in a much better place to where we're not fighting just to live safely.
The proposal makes a host of changes, like capping security deposits at 1 month's rent, banning move-in fees, creating a registry of all rental units in the city, and requiring landlords to provide valid reasons when they evict or don't renew their tenants.
How much real estate do you have? 500 million. And how much debt do you have on that? 400 million. And does this scare you? I'm just getting started. Creative finance is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? It's because it's so effective. My name's not on anything. I've not signed for anything. I've not applied for anything. If the world torches, let's say AI comes in and robots take over the entire world and I lose everything, guess what happens to my credit? Nothing. You can do anything. Planes, houses, RV parks. There's nothing you can't do with creative finance. How do you find these deals?
I don't go find houses, I find pain. What am I looking for? Foreclosure, divorce, bankruptcy, pain, 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 pain.
What are your predictions then for like the overall economy?
The middle class is getting eaten alive. If you don't own a business or own an asset, there's no job that is paying you as much as the cost of things are going up. It's just gonna get worse.
Explain how you're right if you're also the person that's making money off of all of these people.
Turn up to another level. We gon' give him all the praise, cause it ain't nobody better. We gon' turn up to another level. And we gon' give him all the praise, cause it ain't nobody better. Can't help myself, can't help myself, I can't help myself. When I get to praising up in this place, I lose my breath, I lose my breath. I can't help myself.
Why they party? I'm in here grinding. Money I'm stacking. Why they rock diamonds? I can't relate to them, ain't my shit common. I set a goal for me 2 or 3 commas. 7 figures, 8 figures to 9 figures. On a slow pace to get rich quick. Same time we just think different. Cause when you make it, it hit different.
What it do, y'all? It's your partner Dale back in the saddle again for another edition of the Counter Move Podcast. I began a little bit late today, dog. Y'all don't shout me down, but if you could, guys, do me a quick favor, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. This is going to be a really good one, guys, today. I think you're going to realistically like it. I do. And I'm going to want you guys to pay real attention, and specifically the Republican Party, because I'm talking to Republicans this week. Last week, it was the Democrat Party. This week is the Republican Party. Okay, so if you are a conservative, independent, or Republican Party supporter, watch today's podcast. Okay, if you're a Democrat too, you can watch this one. It's all good. But all I'm saying is this here. Watch today. So, guys, today, guys, we have a good one for you guys. Let me turn on my music, because you know I gotta have my music on a little bit. Y'all, here we go. Let's get it in. Hey guys, here we go. Here's our topics for today, guys. All right, if you don't mind. Number one. Oh, I didn't wrong one. My bad. Wrong one. Oh, my bad. Oh, no, let me go to the right one. My bad, guys. Woof. All right, guys. Number one, we're talking about 3 topics today. Number one, the socialist surge. We're gonna talk about how their message is resonating with some voters. Okay? And then we're going to unpack the ideology behind socialism. Okay? Number 2, the rent freeze debate. Man, Chicago and New York has done some interesting things. In New York, you have been talking about they've frozen the rent rates on stabilized apartment complexes. We're going to define what that is and if it's going to really realistically work and how it's affecting landlords now. We're going to look at the pros and cons. Number 2, Chicago decided also to do a little changes to their rental laws. Right now, is this the right time for Chicago to do this? I don't know, guys. Number 3, guys, we're talking about, man, in the Protect the Bag segment, we're going to talk about we're going to go back to real estate. We're going to talk about a certain popular investment strategy called Subject to Investing. Here's a news flash, guys. Lean in a little bit. This is going to be the most powerful investing strategy that you're ever going to hear. Coming from someone that used to be known as a Subject to King in Dallas, Texas. Your partner. This is the most powerful, less barrier investment strategy that you're ever going to listen to, you're ever going to hear, right? We're going to hear from one of the GOATs and your partner. All right. This strategy is going to be the most popular strategy for people to own their homes, right? For investors to buy properties, right? And cash flow them, right? Again, stay tuned. And when we get to that section, have your pen and pads out, guys. This is going to be a really good one, guys. So let's dive into the first topic, guys. Here he is, guys. Here we go. The socialist surge. Why the movement is gaining national momentum. Okay, we got to be honest. This socialist surge is beginning to get some traction. Do I know? I know why, and I'm gonna talk about why and what should be the counter to this, because socialism has been tried lots of times. It has a 100% failure rate. Let me say it again for the folk in the back row. Socialism has a 100% failure rate. It has never worked, no matter who was the lead PR agent or politician pushing it. It has a 100% failure rate. Let that sink in. It's never worked. It never will. Okay, but again, here we go. Let's bring in right now the chief person right now when it comes to the socialism message. And I gotta say, guys, when you listen to him, he's actually really good. I gotta give it to him. He's really good at this messaging thing. So if you are saying this is a one-trick pony, the problem is you. The problem is you, because right now they are doing a number on both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, and they're winning. They're winning. Let me say it again. They are winning right now. They're winning races. Now, you may say they're winning races in deep blue areas. I agree. But once you get that first win, that second win, third win, and that fourth win, listen to the verbiage. Now, from the chief PR agent, the sitting mayor of New York. Here we go. Let's get into it.
You've had a heck of a week. I mean, the election, the candidates you endorsed won down the line, and you knocked off 2 Democratic incumbent members of Congress. Is this like a unique moment in New York, or is this the beginning of a national movement?
I think we are seeing a hunger that is not just felt by New Yorkers, but frankly by Americans from coast to coast for a new kind of politics, one that puts working people at the heart of it. And I think for far too long, what we as a party have been able to say to New Yorkers who are struggling is simply to explain why they're struggling, not actually offer them a vision for how to make life better. And these candidates, Brad, Daria Lisa, Claire, they ran campaigns that spoke to working people and that said life in the nation's most expensive city need not be this way any longer. And I can't wait to have them as partners in DC in that work.
So do you see yourself in...
Now, guys, I want you guys to hear his verbiage. He is extremely clear on what he's talking about. All right? He ain't playing no games. Notice what he actually said. They're focusing on one aspect of this entire thing, affordability. The reason why is because both sides, the Democrat and Republican side, are not talking about this at all. So they're seeing a little crack in the dam, and they're spewing out this messaging, and it's quite good to gain traction in the mainstream. To gain traction. Okay? Let's keep it going. So let's go get into it.
Endorsing candidates outside of New York, or?
You know, for now, my focus is on this incredible slate of 3 congressional candidates, as well as you said, the 5 candidates I endorsed who ran and won, who are all going to be heading to Albany in the state legislature. But I do think, as you said, it's not just New York City where working people are asking themselves, why can't I afford my rent? Why can't I afford my groceries? Why can't I find enough money in my pocket for childcare, no matter how hard I work? And I'm so excited that these incredible soon-to-be Congress members will be helping to lead the fight across the country on making sure that working people are right there where they should be, which is the heart of the conversation.
The reaction from...
See, right there, guys, he's talking about working people. Do you hear the language? Do you hear? It's all about affordability for them. They're saying that, hey, guys, you have both the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. They can't tie their own shoes. They're always arguing over a bunch of nothing. Hey, guys, we're going to smuggle ourselves in on the Democrat side, and we're going to talk about kitchen table issues, affordability. And people are saying, I'm listening to an ideology that has a 100% failure rate. Let that sink in. Send this podcast to your local congressman, your city councilman, your mayor, your county judge, your county commissioners. They need to hear this. Because right now they're getting their butts whooped by some socialists. Let's keep it going, guys. We're not done. Let's keep it going.
Democrats has been something. You've had some prominent Democrats dismissive of what happened here. I mean, you had Senator Blumenthal say the effort to nationalize New York is going to fail. What happened in New York will be really irrelevant by the time of the elections in November. Hakeem Jeffries basically said the same thing, saying that this is not indicative of what needs to happen in November. What do you make of that?
You know, I think that when you ask Americans what they're feeling in this moment, amidst reports of an economy that's strengthening, of a stock market that's booming, you will hear an exhaustion at having to try and make ends meet every single day, every single week, every single month.
He's good.
And that it's getting harder and harder. And
He's
so a
good.
message of fighting for working people, we don't have to nationalize that message. That is a national message. It's a national crisis. And for far too long, all we've had to say as a party is opposition to the current administration. What do we have to say beyond that? And what these candidates offer is a vision that extends beyond the midterms, it extends beyond 2028. It speaks to what makes so many of us proud to be Democrats. It speaks to a vision that goes back to a New Deal understanding of what working people deserve. And I'll tell you that for too long, that kind of politics You can only find it in history books, and we need to bring it back to the present day.
Guys, he's an amazing storyteller. He's good. He's good. Notice what he said. He said, when both parties are arguing about hate, I don't like Trump, or hate Trump, or the Democrats are terrible. These guys are coming out and saying, hey, let's talk about kitchen table stuff. They see an opportunity right now. They do. And the Democrat Party and the Republican Party right now are dropping the ball big time. Now, some folks are saying, this will go away. Hey, man, be careful. Be careful. Will it work? Hell no. No, because socialism has a 100% failure rate. It will not work. No matter how much lipstick you put on the pig, it's still a pig. Does it make some sense, guys? He goes on and on and on. This is a very soft ball type of interview. He goes on to say in this interview that he believes Democrat socialism can win in any race. They have national aspirations. Do not be surprised if AOC is on the presidential ticket. Folk is laughing. Okay, I can understand that because she's not very smart. But these guys don't operate off of smarts. They operate off of deception. Bait and switch. This is their tactic. They bring you in, right, talking about kitchen table issues to make you feel good, tickle your ears, right? And then once they get your vote, they come in and just wreck everything. You're going to see in a second. Don't you worry. We're going to unpack all this in a second, okay? But that is the head cheerleader right now of the Democrat Socialist Party right now. And they have really taken control of the Democrat Party. They really have. We have got to be honest real fast. They're taking it over. Okay, give me one sec here. Gotcha. All right. Gotcha. All right, guys. But hey, we're not done. Now let's unpack, right? The Democrat Socialists, the policies, and see if they even make any sense. Then we're going to analyze the socialist voter. You're going to see a commonality on how they're talking. Well, hey, let's bring it in, guys. Don't shut me down. Here is a video that I actually located on Instagram, and it made total sense. Let me make me bigger real fast, guys, for the folk in the back row. And let's see what's going down here. Listen to this mess, y'all. Listen to it. Let's get it in. Here we go. Hold on one second. Instagram is off. Here we go.
Proved me wrong. He did it. He balanced the New York City budget, closed a $12 billion deficit, and without touching the rainy day fund. I was ready to make the Tony gives Mamdani his flowers video. The engagement would have been incredible, except it's all a mirage. Here's the simplest way I can explain it. Imagine you have $12,000 in credit card debt. You call your parents and they send you $8,000. You push the minimum payments on the rest as far out as possible, and then you post on Instagram that you're debt-free. That's basically what's happening in New York City. The majority of Mamdani's budget closing came from an infusion of state taxpayer cash. Governor Hochul announced $4 billion in additional aid, bringing total pledged state support to $8 billion over 2 years. And then you have the pension gimmick. The budget saves $2.3 billion by simply delaying payments to public pension funds, by stretching them out likely well into the 2040s. So this balanced budget lasts 1 year. And Mamdani said he closed his budget without putting it on the backs of working people, but deferred pension costs, using one-off state money to fund permanent programs, and a $7 billion budget gap already on the horizon for next year. That's exactly where it lands. On the backs of working people, on future New Yorkers who had little to no say on any of this. I wanted to give him his flowers, genuinely. He handles social media very well. He excites young people about politics. I think both of those are good
important things. But a balanced budget built on a bailout and a gimmick isn't real fiscal discipline, and so none of us should pretend that it is. New York City is in rough shape, and throwing all of the blame on an inexperienced first-term mayor with a handful of months under his belt isn't fair. This is true, but I'm concerned that the pressure to perform will force him to continually take the small, short-term wins at the expense of New York's future, because he cares more about his perceived performance rather than the future that he is helping to build for our nation's greatest city.
Guys, he broke that down so well, how Zoran is very good with social media and when it comes to publicity, PR. And he's always smiling all the time, so it's a friendly face. And he's giving these outlandish things he wants to do that make no fiscal sense. He came out and said, I balanced the budget. We had $8 billion gap, I balanced it. What he didn't tell you guys is he borrowed the money from the New York State. That's not balancing nothing. That's a fat lie. But some folks are like, man, he did it, man. Look what he did. Socialism really looks for the naive voter, and I mean it respectfully. A voter that is addicted to headlines and not the details. So they give you the headline hoping that you have no wisdom. And folk fail for this. This was not a balanced budget. He borrowed the money from the state. That's called debt. Hello. Hey, but that's one. That's one. All right, guys. Let's go to another one, unpacking another thing that he actually did, guys, real quickly. Bring this in real fast. This is another one, because remember he's talking about, about taxing the rich, right? That's another taxing the rich. Hey, you know what? We got to bring that in too, because someone destroyed that one too. This was destroyed too. Let's bring it in. This is him talking about taxing the rich. Let's get it in. Here we go. Hold on. Come on now.
Well, today we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we secured a pied-à-terre tax.
Mayor Mamdani, great idea, but you do have one big problem. The billionaires you're trying to tax may not even qualify because New York City's system is so broken. A penthouse sold at 432 Park Avenue for $87.7 million. The city assessed it at $1.6 million for tax purposes. Sting bought an apartment for $65.7 million, assessed at $1.89. President Trump's personal apartment in Trump Tower, the city assessed it at $2.6 million.
It is
a little unfair. Missing the mark for the $5 million cutoff for the pied-à-terre tax.
So what he's saying is, I'm sorry. So there's a $5 million cutoff for this pied-à-terre tax. But these buildings, when the city did its own assessment, because you have a county appraisal district that does it, and you have, of course, an appraisal that gives the real value of the property, but you have a county tax appraisal. Well, these buildings, although the valuation is well over $5 million, don't meet the $5 million cutoff point. Let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going.
Tax. While these luxury condos are assessed at a fraction of what they're worth, rent-stabilized buildings down the street pay nearly 5 times more in effective tax rates. 5 times more. The tax system in New York is protecting the billionaires that Mayor Mamdani is trying to tax and punishing the buildings that house working-class New Yorkers. Mayor, I'm with you on this tax rich proposal, but if you don't fix the property tax system, you're going to miss half of them.
Wow. So this dude is saying the people that he's trying to go after, Mayor Mamdani, they won't even pay this, because how the city assessed their buildings, it falls upon the $5 million threshold. But he told y'all he gonna tax the rich. Headline. Details is the key. Again, great PR on social media. Horrible when it comes to details. That's socialism. I'm just saying, guys, we're not done. We not done, y'all. Let's go somewhere else, guys. We're not done. And these are New York residents. These people that's not living in Texas or something like that. No. These people live in New York. Okay. Here's another brother came out. He calls himself the Progressive Action. He's actually pretty cool. I like him. I like him a lot. He gonna break it down to you or something else. Here we go, y'all. Again, details. Let's get it in real fast.
See, y'all thought I was lying. The DSA had to come out and basically admit Zoran Mamdani taxing the rich was a scam. I'm the one who exposed it to make them tell the truth. Remember when I said this? Y'all keep hearing Mamdani and Hoku say,
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax.
Pied-à-terre surcharge.
This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5
million.
This tax will raise at least $500 million. Everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city.
They're contributing in a meaningful way.
Same script, tax the wealthy, right? So let's break it down. Right now, New York got a $5.4 billion budget gap. And the big solution, tax the wealthy luxury second home. Sounds tough, sound bold until you hear the number. That tax only brings in $500 million. Let me say that again. 5.4 billion gap, 500 million in revenue. That's not even close. That's not a solution. That's a PR move. So now ask yourself, where's the other 4.9 billion coming from? Because it's not magic. It's going to come from somewhere, and it's not going to be the people with $25 million homes. Does that ring a bell? Mamdani celebrated it as a win. And you know what the haters told me? The haters said, no, you're lying. He's not trying to tax the middle class. I told y'all that pied-à-terre tax was a scam, and the DSA had to come out and admit it. Listen to what they had to say.
Governor Hochul passes her state budget right now, the rich still get a $12 billion tax cut from Trump. And New York City and Zoran will still face a $5.4 billion deficit.
Wait, hold up. If the pied-à-terre tax was going to work, then why is the deficit still the same? I'm just saying. Don't say I ain't tell y'all. Socialism is going to destroy New York City. Not only because the concept is bad, but because the people who are selling it to us,
A liar, a cheater, a deceiver, heartbreaker.
Don't be fooled.
Yes, sir. Hey, y'all. Details. Both an incompetent governor and both an incompetent mayor. But they told y'all the headline. We're going to tax the billionaires. They didn't tell y'all them details, though. Don't take my word for it. This is a New Yorker breaking down the numbers. Okay? Again, socialism has a 100% failure rate. It has never worked, and it will not work. So if you're falling for the okie doke, you deserve to be broke. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. It gets worse, y'all. We not through. We not through. I told y'all. I'm gonna break it all down for you. Republicans, you better be listening to me. The whole scam is to talk about kitchen table issues, which is wise, but have no plan at all to meet those needs because they are deceiving you the whole time. It's a scam. We ain't done, y'all. We not finished. Don't you worry about it, baby. Now, let's go real fast to what their true intentions is. You know, the socialists. What's their true intentions, okay? Let's go to someone that was an actual real socialist. Real socialist, okay? Again, we ain't playing no games. We're gonna give you the facts. Here she go, y'all. Hey, bring it down to us. With socialism spread worldwide, what is their plan? I'm glad let's get to it.
As a former progressive fundraiser, let me tell you, the socialist earthquake we saw last week in New York City and yesterday in Colorado is just the beginning. The far left has the energy, they have the base, and now they have the ability to compete in elections that we haven't seen in recent years. How do I know this for sure? Because I personally know many of the people behind this DSA wave. I used to work for the firm that raised Brad Lander millions of dollars. I trained other operatives at an organization headed by Daria Liza's campaign manager. Another member of Daria Liza's team and I worked together on a race in Illinois. Now, I have a warning for America. They aren't stopping in New York City or Colorado. What you just saw is a preview of what's to come. My journey with progressives began in 2018. In that cycle, we elected Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar. In my upcoming book, Nothing Left, out next month, I chart the party's evolution during these years. When AOC was elected, the party reacted by literally blacklisting any consultant that helped primary an incumbent. And so the progressive left reacted by building their own infrastructure. We trained each other. We recruited our own donors, our own billionaires. We created an extremely strong leftist network of organizations and consultants to help build electoral power. In reality, the Democrats' isolation strategy, it completely backfired. In fact, it only made the left stronger because they had to build up. Okay, so who are these DSA organizers? They're the children of lawyers, professors, and NGO leaders. They sing solidarity forever, but they have absolutely zero connection to the modern American blue-collar worker. Like my uncle's construction worker union, where 70% of its members voted to re-elect Donald Trump in 2024. The greatest irony to me, of course, is that the DSA candidates cloak themselves in the cause of the working class. But they get elected by educated elites. In fact, Daria Liza won a district that includes the Bronx, but she lost the working class part of the Bronx by 30 points. She did well with young people and high-income voters, and she won college-educated areas by double digits. Working class people don't want to abolish ICE, they want prisons to exist, and for the police to be well-funded. Obsession with climate and identity politics, that's not what's at the forefront of their minds. They want candidates who focus on the economy and talk about bread and butter issues. Candidates who will stand up for their safety. I left the Democratic Party because I saw that they had lost complete connection to the American working class. I believe a healthy Democratic Party is extremely important for the future of this country. But the far left, they're not the answer.
Hello? Hello? Democrats and Republicans. Are you listening to this? Are you listening to this? They actually have national aspirations. And right now, messing with us are kicking you behind. I mean, this is boots on the ground. Somebody they're trained with them. Boots on the ground, y'all. So I told y'all, man, this is not a game. This ain't no game, guys. They are coming. They are here. Now, again, we're not done. We almost there, y'all. Hang with your partner. I hang with your partner real fast. Now, guys, let's see what type of voter votes for a ideology or a system that has a 100% failure rate. Now, you heard her talk about, who these people were. Okay? Doctors, CPAs, attorneys, folks have no connection at all to Main Street, right? Let's see how these people think, because we have to know our audience, right? It's like my man Alonzo. He's on TikTok. He's a great financial advisor. In order for him to be a great financial advisor or wealth strategist, he has to know his audience. Guys, we have to know our audience. Got to know our audience. All right, guys, let's get to it, y'all. Here we go, y'all. Here go another one. Another guys. Here is someone actually interviewing, right? A socialist. Here we go, y'all. Let's listen to what she has to say real fast. Let's see if she's talented. Let's see what's going on. Here we go. Let's get to it.
So you said you're a socialist?
Yeah. Oh God, am I gonna get roasted? Yeah.
What we're asking people today is, what do you think about Zohran Mamdani's plan to tax the billionaires and to create a more equitable tax structure in New York City?
I love him. It's unbelievable. Okay. Shouldn't we all be more equitable?
Well, let me ask you this. So there's about 1,000 billionaires in the United States.
Okay.
If we taxed them 100% and liquidated all their assets, we could fund the federal government for about 10 months. What do we do after that?
But that's not how the government works. Also, no one needs to be a billionaire. The amount that you could fund over time by taxing a portion of their income would house people, it would provide them health care, it would do a lot of incredible things. Why? What do you think?
I think that would be a bad idea. I think even a marginal increase on taxes de-incentivizes business growth.
Why do you think it's a bad idea?
Because it de-incentivizes business growth. So we actually limit and
But it's
reduce economic activity.
It's individuals who monopolize a portion of, not a portion, they monopolize
most of
the
these-
income for individuals. And actually, if you want to make a more equitable society, you should increase economic mobility for individuals so then more of them can be active members of society rather than a couple of people hoarding majority of the wealth.
That's what free market capitalism does, right? Because what they're doing is they're creating businesses and creating jobs for people that creates economic growth.
Yeah.
And also, they're already paying 40% of the taxes in this country. The top 1% is.
Right.
So I think I would rather have New York City a business hospitable environment so people aren't fleeing to Florida and Texas.
But that's such like a crock of shit. People aren't actually leaving.
Ken Griffin, just last week, said he's leaving.
One individual?
No, a lot of them are. And actually, even Kathy Hochul from New York State said that she wants the people to come back who have left so they can afford to fund the social programs here.
I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. If you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded.
I mean, Mamdani has a $12 billion budget deficit. How is he going to close that without asking Kathy Hochul, who has the same problem? They've driven people out of New York with high tax policy and anti-capitalist policies.
Are you a billionaire?
No.
Do you aspire to be one?
Millionaire.
Okay.
Millionaire. I don't need to be a billionaire.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. Oh, I'd love to hear more of your thoughts. But
Good, thank you.
all right, thank you.
That is the quality of voter that votes for this mess. There you go. Facts don't matter. Ideology does. That's the thought process. These people are brainwashed. I mean, he intelligent broke that thing down. Okay, you know what? Here's no, what you're right. We have another one, guys. We got another one. Let's see if we can get a more intelligent one real fast. You know, we want to make sure that we're fair. Make sure that we're fair. Okay. Let's get a more intelligent one. Make sure that we're fair. You know what I'm talking about? Here we go. Here is another one, guys. Interviewed by the same man. The same man, y'all. The same man. All right. Let's see how this one does real fast. And then we kind of go from there. Maybe she does better. Let's give it a good old try. Let's get it in. Let's see what happens. Here we go.
I feel like billionaires have too much power. They control too many resources, and we just have to split them up so everybody's fine, you know?
So what if I told you there's a little under 1,000 billionaires in the United States of America?
Yeah.
If we taxed them all 100%, liquidated everything that they own, we could fund the government for 9 to 10 months.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we'd be broke and our economy would be destroyed.
Yeah.
What do we do next?
Well, I don't think it works like that. I mean, I'm not from here, honestly. I'm from Germany, so we do have a lot of billionaires as well who just own a lot of our resources. And I think if you invest the money right, you know, into the people, nothing that is too, you know, like temporary, it will have a huge effect. You know, you have to commit to the challenge. And right now it's not working either. So you have to, you know, find a solution.
What's happening right now is Mamdani's plan to raise taxes is actually driving a lot of businesses and billionaires out of New York City.
Yeah.
They're going down to Florida and Texas.
Right.
So how is that good for the city? How is that going to work?
Well, I feel like the billionaires, even if they live in New York, I mean, they don't really do that much for New York, you know?
They create jobs.
They create jobs, but I think a lot of people struggle here with the jobs they have. Like, they don't make enough money. I think it's not as simple as just taking all the money. You have to reinvest it properly and wisely, and it will help, like, a lot of people here.
What that involves is taking other people's money, the value that they generated, building a business or investing in something. So if those people leave or if they stop, whose money are we going to take?
Well, I mean, that's a good question, but I don't know. I don't think everyone will leave. And even if they do, like right now, they're not doing anything. I feel.
Y'all, that wasn't better. I mean, Democrat Party, Republican Party, I'm talking to you. What are we doing? Forgive me. What are you doing? Right? Forget we. What are you doing to reach this type of voter? This is unintelligent. It's like I have a saying, respectfully. Socialists are mathematical morons. Let me say it again. Socialists are mathematical morons. What do I mean by that? They're allergic to numbers. This is utopia. I mean, money can come out of anywhere. They don't look at facts. Nope. It is all about their emotions and feelings and this utopia they just made in their minds that don't make no damn sense. Like, this is the quality of voter. Wow. That is. So let me end this section. And guys, we're not done with the socialists at all. We got more. All right. My counter move to this real quickly, guys. Here's my counter move. Republican Party. I'm talking about city, county, state, and nationally. Some of y'all watch my podcast. I know. From a PR standpoint, you have got to begin to talk about kitchen table issues. Okay? Because right now, things are higher. They are. We have got to be honest. They are higher. And the Democrat Socialist Party, although their policies are trash, they are tickling the ears of a lot of young voters. And if it gains more steam, older voters may fall alongside them. This is the reason why they're saying that they believe that they can win other elections nationwide. They have the data to conclude this. They're not putting this out of their behinds. So stop talking about dumb stuff and begin addressing issues. Now, I don't believe government can solve problems. No, it is a partnership with the voter as well as the government. The government should be a referee, not a player in the game. So, Republican Party, what is going to be your message for the midterms? Because if you lose the midterms, don't be surprised if it may be a president AOC or presidential candidate AOC and presidential candidate Gavin Newsom. Two of the worst politicians as far as policy in the nation. Okay? Get your head out your behind and begin to put foot to the plow. Because right now, the Democratic Socialist Party is kicking your behinds. And with ease. Okay? All right, guys? That's my solution. Better marketing, better PR. Now, let's go to our next topic, guys. And I know this is going to be, because, your partner's in the real estate. And so, I got to bring up some stuff real quickly, man. On New York, let's go back to the NYC, baby. All right. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to NYC real fast, guys. Rent freeze debate and housing shakeup. Man, what New York City's and Chicago's housing policy could mean. Guys, I'm gonna say it. These are the dumbest policies that I've ever heard. Well, no. Yes. Stupidity. Dumb policies. Not based on my thought process. The numbers say so. You don't believe me? Let's get it in. All right, let's go to New York first, guys. And I want y'all to pay attention real quickly. Respectfully, guys, like I said, to the clapping seals. Respectfully, of people that are in love with their ears being tickled and all they want to talk about, guys, is rent freeze. Rent freeze. How it's gonna help them out? Here we go. Let's get to it, guys. Oh my God.
And tenants celebrate after a vote tonight to freeze the rent. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson. That decision impacts about 2 million New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized apartments. The board took action to freeze 1- and 2-year leases, something the panel has never done before. But as Andrew Ramos reports, some say it could have long-term repercussions.
The motion passes.
An auditorium packed with tenants erupts in a thunderous applause at El Museo del Barrio in East Harlem. Following a historic vote to freeze rent for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments, the city's Rent Guidelines Board delivered the 7-1 vote Thursday night, which will grant a rent freeze for 1-year and 2-year leases. Tenants say it's a game changer in the fight to keep New York affordable.
Oh my goodness, I'm ecstatic. I'm literally walking on cloud 9 right now.
I'm so proud of people my age and young people getting together and forming coalitions, because when we do that, we can make an impact.
The final vote, which came after more than a dozen public hearings and multiple data reports, was a punch in the gut for property owners who say they are already struggling to maintain their buildings.
We'll have to lay off some of the supers. Only choice. It's a business. People don't get it.
Housing has costs, and this has become a political game.
Mayor Mamdani, who made freezing rent a centerpiece of his mayoral campaign, now fulfills a campaign promise. In a statement, the mayor said in part, "This is the relief that working people across our city deserve." Thursday's vote came amid some controversy where Christina Smith, a member of the city's Rent Guidelines Board who represented landlords, resigned from her post. She suggested that the vote's outcome was already decided by the board, where 6 of the 9 members were appointed by Mayor Mamdani. But the mayor insists the RGB is independent. While the vote may be popular with tenants, experts say the long-term impact may cause more problems than solve them.
We have a housing crisis, not just a rent crisis, but we're going to have a housing supply crisis as well. And that may only get worse if we don't find ways to keep these buildings standing and operating in a decent condition.
Now, the leases that will be impacted by tonight's decision will begin after October 1st, 2026 and before September 30th, 2027.
So, guys, freezing the rents, huh? And the clapping seals, they're like, yay! Woo! Hallelujah! Glory! What they're saying. I mean, just ecstatic. Ecstatic. You know what? Not a problem. Now, we gotta be fair and balanced. Let's bring the landlord side of the issue, guys, all right? Because we heard a lot from the tenants, right? Let's hear from the landlord side, because the landlords, they're the ones who have to deal with this. Here we go. Let's listen to the landlords now. Here we go. Let's get it in. Here we go.
In a major victory for Mayor Mamdani, the Rent Guidelines Board approves a rent freeze for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized units. But landlords call the process a farce, telling Christina Fan renters will ultimately pay the price.
This is just cosplaying fairness. This isn't real fairness.
Jan Lee, whose family has owned this Chinatown building for nearly a century, is crying foul, accusing the Rent Guidelines Board of freezing rent, despite mounds of data he says shows rising costs for landlords.
They're not even hiding the bias anymore. The mayor had campaigned on a rent freeze. He appoints 75% of the board, and now he's got his hand on the scale.
Just hours before Thursday's meeting, drama unfolded when Christina Smith, a member of the board who represented landlords, resigned from her post, accusing the process of being broken and unjust. But it did little to sway the result, as the Rent Guidelines Board voted 7-1 in an historic first to approve a 0% increase on both 1- and 2-year leases. Was necessary. They struggled to combat inflation. Cuts to social services.
It's going to do so much to really affect my life in a good way.
I feel very good because in New York, that's one of the biggest problems that we have. You know, rent is high and we really needed it stabilized.
Mayor Mamdani, who campaigned on freezing the rent, insisted the board's decision would be fair and impartial. He responded to the outcome saying in part, "This is the relief that working people across our city deserve." But Lee says it's renters who the freeze will ultimately hurt.
Correct.
If we keep eroding one side of the equation, something's got to give, and the people in those buildings are going to suffer. So there has to be some kind of fairness and recognition of the math.
The freeze will impact more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants throughout the city and will affect leases that begin after October 1st of this year.
So, guys, I'm going to give you my thoughts in a second, guys. I'm going to give you my thoughts. But what I want to do is I actually want to bring in someone else real quickly. And I want them to walk through this, guys. Because, again, I'm going to give commentary. And with my discipline being in real estate, I think I'm pretty qualified to get my commentary. But, again, facts and data here. Let's bring in also, guys, real quickly here. As you can see, you see the kind of the difference with the landlords are talking about, hey, this is a business, and guys, ultimately the renters are going to suffer, and I agree with them on this. And the renters are saying this is going to give me relief. All right, guys, let's see if this really is going to give them relief. Let's bring in someone else real fast. Saw this video today to unpack the videos for us real fast, guys. Again, facts and data. Facts and data. Here is the breakdown of this rent freeze that Zoran Mamdani is saying is great for the working people. Let's see if he's telling the truth or lying. Here we go. Let's get into it.
New York just froze the rent on 1 million apartments, and it just guaranteed the housing crisis gets worse. Let me show you the math. Last week, the Rent Guidelines Board voted 7-1 for a total freeze, a 0% increase on 1 and 2 year leases. First, 2-year freeze in city history. It covers 1 million apartments and about 2 million people. Here is what nobody is telling the tenants celebrating. They froze the rent, but they did not freeze the owner's costs. This year alone, insurance is up 10.5%, fuel's up 11%, and operating costs are up 5.3%, and 31% over 5 years. The income is flat while the bills increase. What does a landlord do when the math does not pencil? They stop investing in the buildings. They don't fix the boilers. They don't fix the roof. Maintenance gets deferred, and the building slowly rots. 9% of these buildings are already losing money. This is exactly how you got the South Bronx in the 1970s. And here's the kicker. This freeze does not build a single new apartment. The real problem is a 1.5% vacancy rate, a supply problem. Freezing prices instead of building supply is not policy. This is government intervention, and government intervention has a 100-year losing streak. Freeze the rent today, crumble the building tomorrow, follow for the development math that nobody is running.
I couldn't have said it better. Okay, lean in for a little bit, guys. Let me tell you what this realistically is. He broke it down very quickly, guys. Really good, guys. Let come back to me real quickly, and then we're gonna go over to we're not done, but this is a property confiscation plan. Okay, this is a property confiscation plan, and they're using the law, codifying these laws. He's doing it as fast as he can before the midterms, right? That's what he's doing. And we'll break that down here in a second. But it's, again, let me say it again. This is a property confiscation plan. Okay, now we heard those numbers. Let's go a little bit deeper on the numbers. Okay, a little bit deeper on the numbers, right? Here's another video real fast on this, guys. This one is a little bit longer, but we're not gonna listen to the entire thing. But I want to listen to a little portion of it, and I think it does a really good job at breaking things down a little bit deeper. Because my man's in the previous video did a phenomenal job. Here it is. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's go.
New York, the Independent Rent Guidelines Board just froze the rent. That means if you're one of the more than 2 million New Yorkers who lives in a rent-stabilized apartment, your rent's going to be frozen next year.
That's New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani delivering on his campaign promise to freeze the rent. Starting October 1st, 2026, 1- and 2-year renewal leases on rent-stabilized apartments will be frozen, impacting 1 million units in the city. It's easy to understand why a lot of New Yorkers voted for this policy. Rent in NYC is notoriously unaffordable. The implication is that landlords are to blame. They're evil capitalists sitting on piles of cash, exploiting their vulnerable tenants. But the truth is much more complex. This March, I visited Jose Tor, a 31-year-old Cuban-American who's a landlord of a building in Washington Heights. He complicates this simple oppressor versus oppressed narrative Mamdani's team would like us to believe. Jose's grandfather, Jose Antonio Tor, came to America after escaping the Cuban Revolution. At 50 years old in 1979, he started over.
He was doing a side job painting around the neighborhood, and a lady told him, hey, listen, you should stop by and take a look at this building because they're giving it away, essentially. Wow. He met with the owner and was able to finance the building. He eventually put down a $25,000 down payment and dedicated his life to these buildings. This is my grandfather and we're replacing a large marble step here. This was about in 1999, so he would always tell me, never do anything unless you do it with love and you really, really care about it. And he loved the work, but it was led by his passion.
His grandfather was eventually able to buy another building across the street with 45 units, which is what Jose now runs.
What year is this building?
This is 1915.
1915.
Yeah, so 100 years old.
Jose is weighing whether he should stay and continue his grandfather's legacy or sell and get out, because he says years of oppressive housing policies, of which Mamdani's rent freeze is just the latest and most extreme, are pricing him out of the family business. In 2019, for example, a tenant protection law passed in New York State, capping the amount landlords can raise rents on rent-stabilized apartments at 2%.
Today, the tenants will win.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The problem is that most rent-stabilized apartments have the same tenant for decades and are in need of serious repair.
This is how he left the apartment, yep. Which we cleaned it up a little bit, but you could see how terrible of a tenant the guy was.
Well, no appliances. Did you have to take them out after he left? Were they destroyed or?
They were destroyed, roach infested, they served no use.
Right, and then bathroom isn't usable, kitchen's not usable.
If an apartment was rented for, say, $800 back in 1970, raising the rent to just $816 a month in 2026 would make it impossible for landlords to cover their expenses. So instead of fixing them and bringing them back up to code, landlords will lock the door and never rent them again.
Have you gotten quoted for what it would take to bring this apartment back on the market?
Yeah, I mean, on a very low note, doing the minimal amount of work, probably $30,000.
You have 45 units?
Right,
How many of them are empty like this right now?
6.
6.
Yep.
As we've reported in the Free Press, an estimated 50,000 ghost apartments currently sit empty because of this law, in a city experiencing a housing crisis.
50,000 ghost apartments. That goes on and on and on. This is ridiculous. Okay, now, come back to me for a brief second. Let me cook. I told you before, this is a property confiscation plan. And I'm glad I showed that last video because you're seeing what landlords are going to have to do, right? So here's what's going on. I'm going to give you numbers real quickly, guys, all right? Let's just say hypothetically that a landlord has an apartment that needs to be leased out, several apartments. This is just one. Let's say, for instance, the mortgage payment on that property is $1,000. Okay. The market rental rate says he can charge $1,500. So that's the $500 delta of profit there that the homeowner actually has. But now, and this actually began under, I'll be honest with you, Mayor Adams, and now this is what is progressing even more. So when it comes to Mamdani, is this here. Is now with a freeze, let's just say hypothetically with the freeze, the New York City government says that you can't charge $1,500, you can only charge $800 a month. Now remember, the debt service plus tax and insurance to nature is $1,000. The market rate says he can charge $1,500. He only made $500 profit there. The city says you can only charge $800. So he's losing $200 per month. Now, what will happen if a landlord or a business is not making any money? It begins to shut down, right? So as this landlord just said on the screen, he said that he has 6 vacant. He would have to shut the doors, and that'd be it. And because they have no money to keep up with the maintenance, pay contractors, pay property managers. They'll have nothing to pay. So they walk away from 1 unit, 5 unit, 10 units, all of a sudden 45 units. Now, the entire building is now vacant. Now what happens is the lender says, we got to foreclose on property because the landlord stopped paying the mortgage because they can't afford to maintain the building. What happens? Well, it goes into foreclosure, and guess who's going to be the only bidder in town to get the property? The city of New York. The worst landlord in the state of New York is the city of New York. They'll be the only game in town bidding to buy the property. Which was the plan from the get-go. Remember, socialism is about government controlling the means of production and services. That's how they do it legally. Now, what can a landlord do? Simple. Get out. Get out of New York. You've got to go. Get out. It's time. Just saying. Now, we're not done. Now let's bring Chicago to the front of the congregation. And the second worst mayor, I'll say he's the worst mayor in the United States, is Brandon Johnson. This guy's so bad, man. He is terrible. He's a terrible mayor. It's Chicago, and they're doing some housing law adjustments. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Okay, so the city says they're going after non-transparent junk fees and landlords who are evicting tenants without good reason. But on the flip side, many owners argued that ultimately the city can't make housing more affordable by making it more expensive to provide housing.
Sad.
No vote was taken today, but that didn't stop a crowd of staunch supporters of the protection.
Notice how they're saying housing is a human right. You see why I call them mathematical morons? Because there's a cost to providing the housing. Oh my God.
Protecting renters ordinance, known as PRO.
The rental registry would make ownership and repeated violations easier to track.
And gives the department the power to hold bad landlords accountable.
From turning out to say that times have changed. And the protections for renters need to change too.
We will build the new housing our city needs, but we must ensure new investment creates opportunity and not displacement.
The ordinance would require landlords to provide a valid reason before evicting a tenant or declining to renew a lease. The city argued some landlords use evictions as a tool for displacement and gentrification. In certain cases, landlords would also be required to provide relocation assistance. It would also require annual registration of all rental units. The city says smaller landlords would pay less than large corporate ones. The fees would be capped at $60 per year per unit. The ordinance also creates a new body responsible for complaint processing, investigation, and coordinating enforcement. The city says they hope to level the playing field for small landlords.
We're focusing on the owners and not holding the renters accountable.
But today, several small landlords spoke out against the PRO.
You don't make housing more affordable by making it more costly to provide it.
Critics contended that the per-unit fee would make apartments less affordable and worry that the just cause eviction requirement could force landlords to renew leases for problem tenants.
We're only asking for input. We want to provide proper housing.
I think the big concern that we have is what big companies are buying property by the thousands, keeping those property empty, evicting people, left and right.
Committee on Housing and Real Estate Chairman Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez told me he hopes to put the ordinance in front of full city council for a vote in the fall and stressed this is still a draft.
So we're trying to incorporate feedback.
The city says about 54% of Chicago households are renters. Now, if this does pass, Erica, it would go into effect in January.
Whoa, 54% of Chicagoans are renters? What the hell? Oh my God. And then notice how they're trying to use the corporations are buying a whole bunch of properties and then force people out. No, they're not. No, they're not. There's very rarely any type of developers really buying or investors buying in Chicago because the regulations suck. Do you see how deception? I will never invest in New York City or the city of Chicago. Never. And I actually got a tape of properties. We're talking about huge apartment complexes. Huge. To buy Chicago. I said no. Nope. Won't do it. Won't touch it. Why? It's Chicago. No. But 54% of all of the citizens in Chicago are renters. That breeds for me bad policies. It's not attracting home ownership type of desires. Now, remember, this is what Chicago is doing. Now let's really look at the books of Chicago and see if this is really what they should be doing. Again, property confiscation is the key. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. It's diabolical. Let's get into it. Here is my man Anton Daniels. He's been covering this like a pro. And let's bring him in to the worst mayor in the history of the United States, Brandon Johnson. Let's see what he has to say about this, guys. And we kind of go from there. Here we go. This is him talking about a budget shortage. Wait a minute. It's a budget shortage? Yep, let's get into it. Here we go.
2026 mid-year budget report so that the public can see and better understand where we stand financially. I do want to talk through the report, and I want to make sure that we speak in a very direct and a blunt way. Last year, during a very difficult budget cycle, our administration held the line against austerity and proposed a budget built on structural progressive revenue.
Progressive.
We challenged those at the top and those who benefit the most from our economy to finally pay their fair share so that we can continue to invest in the needs of working people.
Hey, stop the cap. What is the number? All you progressive people, you keep saying the rich ain't paying their fair share. What is the number? Give me the damn number. What should it be? What should it be? And it's always the billionaire fault or the landlord's fault. It's never on anyone else, not the government. They ain't spending too much money, or they ain't taxing too much. It's on the billionaires and the landlords. Man, they trash, man. I digress. Here we go.
That approach was not just my call. It came directly from what we heard from residents across the city during our budget engagements.
Trash.
It was also reinforced by the findings of the Chicago Financial Future Task Force. We also know that credit rating agencies have consistently raised concerns about relying too heavily on speculative or one-time funding sources. And these are certainly risks that manifest as a result of that propensity. Our goal was to build something stronger, more stable, and more honest for the long term. But corporate-aligned members of the City Council chose a different direction and adopted their so-called alternative budget. And throughout that process, we raised concerns about the assumptions in that plan, not to oppose for the sake of opposing, but because Chicagoans deserve honesty about the risks of budgets that rely on fines and fees. Last December, we warned that some of those revenue sources would not perform as the caucus members or city council members that were more aligned with the interests of corporations. Now, halfway through the year, we are seeing those warnings come to fruition. Gaps have emerged due to the regressive revenue options that members of the city council that were more aligned with corporate interests put forward. Their incomplete and inconsistent assumptions have been unfounded.
So what Brandon Johnson is trying to communicate to you guys is this. Chicago, midway through the 2026 year, is short $130 million. Now, I've always said, and I've talked about the fact that Chicago and a lot of other cities, including Los Angeles and Denver and Jersey City and so on and so forth, are mismanaging the budget. They have more debt than they can control. Credit rating agencies, which he addressed right here, are actually downgrading the credit of the city themselves, which is causing the city residents more money. And what's going to happen is they're going to basically have to raise your property taxes.
We are releasing the 2026 mid-year budget.
So again, guys, so Brandon Johnson thinks it's a great idea in the midst of the city having a budget shortfall of $130 million, that it's time to change the rental laws to make it more one-sided toward the tenant. Just because they want a more progressive type of code. That's it. And they keep saying that the landlords keep on charging these obscene fees, provided no evidence of that at all, period. What is the play? Simple. Okay, let's get rid of intern real fast. Here is the play for what's the play here? Their play, guys, is very simple. What Chicago wants to do is Chicago know there's a budget shortfall. What they want to do is raise taxes on the middle class, right? Because they have to. And number two, if they have to, do the same play that New York is doing, which is what? Property confiscation. Why is that so important to a city like them that's ran on socialist policies? Simple. It marries with their ideology, number one. And number two, they can now become landlord to all of the apartment complexes, which brings in what? More revenue. What's that revenue, Dale? Rental revenue. And because they are inept when it comes to real estate investing, right, or developing, those properties will be uninhabitable because they will not be able to maintain, or will not maintain the excellence of that building. They won't do it. So what should you do in Chicago? Get out. Get out of Chicago. Let them have it. Let them eat themselves. Get out. You gotta go. You gotta go. Because these guys are moronic. It don't make no damn sense, guys. But all I'm saying, guys. Well, all right, guys. Let's go to our next topic real quickly, guys. And then we'll be done. Here is the section where I call our Protect the Bag series, guys, real quickly. All right, hold on one second.
Network and hustle.
This is our Protect the Bag series, guys, real quickly. And we're going to talk about a topic that I love talking about. It's called Subject to Investing. Okay? The lucrative business model of subject to investing. Now, what is subject to? I'm going to bring in the GOAT to explain this to you guys. And I'm going to let you know why this type of strategy is going to become the best way, one of the best, top two ways of becoming a homeowner. What's number one to me? Lease to own. And I'll go over that next week. Okay? Number two, it's going to be subject to investing. All right, so let's bring in Pace Morby. I think he's the GOAT this type of strategy, even though I am good too, right? Let's bring him on real quickly. Pace is going to break it down for us, guys. What this is, very succinctly. Then I'm going to give you guys some commentary on it, guys. And then we shall be done. All right? Thanks for rocking with your partner, man. Let's get it in. Let's go.
Pace Morby, thank you so much for coming on the Iced Coffee Hour. First question, how much real estate do you have?
About $500 million.
And how much debt do you have?
Probably about 400, between 350 and 400 million, something like that.
And give the best pitch to the viewer right now why they need to listen to this episode.
Right now is the number one time in all history where you can get free RV parks, free car washes, free houses. Sellers are in distress. They can't get rid of their properties because the market won't gobble them up. And talking about creative finance and buying creative finance allows you to buy them.
Yeah. How is it free?
It's free because right now I've got a agent right to our right that has a seller that can't get out of their house, right? They're locked in for whatever reason, lost their job. They can't make next month's mortgage. So I take the house mortgage over and then I turn around and hand it over to the particular house right here is Oxford House. I'm handing it over in a sublease to a government paid program called Oxford House. They pay the mortgage plus $2,000 a month. So I net $2,000 a month on a house I didn't have to qualify for.
And how much of your real estate was bought using creative financing?
100%.
So what you're arguing is basically you're able to better capitalize on this real estate asset than the current owner would.
Correct.
So why would they not just go around and do the exact same thing that you're doing?
I asked the seller that a couple of days ago. I wish I could bring the agent up here, but the agent was right there with me in the living room. And I said, you could just do exactly what I'm doing. Call Oxford House. They'll take the house. They'll lease it from you. They'll pay you $2,000 a month more. Why would the seller not want to do that? Because they're not landlords. They don't want to deal with that stuff. They have stress and all this cortisol pumping through their veins. All they want to do is get rid of the payment and not have to think about the house anymore. So they pass it on to me because I'm willing to do that.
So all of this hinges on the idea of what we call creative financing, right? That's like a non-conventional way of borrowing money in order to buy an asset like a house, a boat, a car, RV park, whatever it is. How much of your $500 million of assets has been creatively financed?
100%.
100% of it?
100%. I mean, I'll do a refinance like after I've owned something for 7 to 10 years and I'll use a bank on a refinance, but I'm not using a bank to qualify for the loans.
So how much of this $400 million of debt is owed to banks as opposed to just like random people?
Probably $20 million to banks and $350 to $380 million is owed to sellers.
So does this not concern you at all? Because we talk to other people that have a ton of real estate and they have like 50% debt, 50% equity. You have like 80% debt.
If the market goes down 20%, it's all wiped out.
You're basically at zero.
In what way?
Market value.
And the market's going to force me to sell an asset that's cash flowing?
Well, I'm talking market value.
I don't pay my bills with market value. You don't pay your bills with market value. That might be my net worth, but I can't go pay my grocery bill with that. There's not like a debit card that says, here's your net worth debit card, go buy groceries with it.
That's correct.
You pay your groceries with cash flow. I don't have time bombs. I have permanent debt with sellers that don't have time bombs. So nobody's calling my notes due. Nobody's telling me I got a balloon. I don't have a maturity date. In fact, in my contracts with my seller, it states that if I cannot refinance based on interest rates or I can't sell based on interest rates, I can extend my note with them. So I have a seller, for example, $5 million RV park with a 10-year note. So he's financing me for 30-year payment, but he's giving me a 10-year balloon. So I have 10 years to refinance, sell the property, or pay it all off. And in the 10-year note, it specifically says that if interest rates are in a situation where I can't refinance or offload to a new buyer, we extend another 5 years until they are.
How is this good for the seller?
They avoid capital gains tax. They get a higher purchase price. They also get interest on top of the money that their seller financed.
So walk me through just a standard purchase, like a template purchase. If someone wanted, an average viewer out there wanted to put into practice what you're talking about, what would it look like?
What asset type do you want? House?
It's just a single family home.
Okay, we'll talk about this deal right here that I just did with David. So seller buys the house in 2022, gets an interest rate of 3.5%. They buy it with, let's say, a VA loan, so they put no money down, so they have zero equity when they buy the property. In fact, most sellers don't have any equity when they buy their houses. They're paying over because they got closing costs and move-in expenses and whatever else. The market kind of flattens. Interest rates are now 6.25%, 6.5% for the new buyer. So a new buyer can't pay what the purchase price is. And so the seller's like, we can't sell it without writing a check. So the benefit to them is that his seller, Melissa and Kenneth, would have to write a check for $15,000 to let go of their house.
Meanwhile, they have a 3.5% interest rate attached to it. Why? That doesn't make any sense to go get a loan at 6.25% to pay off
Correct.
a 3.5% loan. It's
Correct.
crazy
Spot
to do
on,
that, right?
Spot on.
So I went to the sellers. David calls me and says, hey, we've done deals in the past. I've got a seller that's in a bad situation. I got on the phone with the seller, said, what's going on? What's your timeline? They go, well, we can't make next month's payment. We lost our job. Are there a lot of people losing jobs right now?
Sure
Okay.
is.
Are there a lot of people in foreclosure right now?
Sure is.
Debatable, I guess, depending on the area.
Yeah. Yes, but it's growing significantly. I think we can agree with that, right? So I tell Melissa and Kenneth, the sellers on this house, I said, I will buy your house, but I'm not going to give you any money. And chances are you're going to pay the closing costs on this property, and then I'll take the house off your hands. Sellers go, absolutely. When can we do it? 2 days later, I'm in the house walking through the paperwork with them. They've already boxed up the house. Like, they're not waiting for the contract to be signed. They're like, you're going to take over my payment and you're going to let me out of this situation. Meanwhile, I can take a 3.5% interest rate and do something with it the seller's not willing to do.
So one thing that confuses a lot of people, it's been addressed.
So, guys, that's kind of a long and short of it. Let me kind of come back into this real quickly, guys, and kind of give you kind of a snapshot of what that is. Guys, subject to investing is very clear. It is you buying a property creatively, subject to the existing financing staying in place, right? So basically, effectively, you're taking over someone's payment because they have a pain moment, job transfer, long days on market, doesn't want to pay capital gains, long-term landlord that wants to get out, right? A distressed property, right? There's several different pain points that PACE is talking about when it comes to subject to investing. You want to fish for those. Now, what are you doing? Typically, you're taking over a property that has little to no equity, which is okay. But what's happening is you're getting it at a great interest rate of 2.5%, 3%, right? You can't find that at all if you buy a new property right now. Looking at A paper, 720 credit score, you're looking at maybe 6.25%, 6.5%, right? So that's crazy town, right? You can take control of that property and you can do a lease option to end buyer. You can sell and finance the property out if you do it right. You can do a variety, which just means you become someone's bank. You can do a variety of things by acquiring a property this way. Guys, I bought millions of dollars worth of homes, guys, in 08, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, guys, for $0. I bought 8 properties at one time. Well, I said four, and it was 4 a week in 1 week and 4 like 2 or 3 weeks later on. So really 8 properties in 1 month, subject to, right? And I took over the payment of all these homes in 3 different states, and the rate was 2.5%. And I paid $0 out of pocket. This right here is one of the most powerful strategies you can use when it comes to real estate to build wealth, right? But also to buy your initial home. What's more wiser for you to go out and borrow the debt from a Bank of America at a 6.5%, 7%, 8% interest rate, right? 30-year term, hoping you can actually either buy down the rate or refinance down to a low rate if the rates come down. There's a lot of variables that you can control versus helping someone by solving their problem and taking over their mortgage payment at a 2.5 or 3% interest rate. Which one makes more sense to you? Simple. The subject to investing strategy. Yes, I'm so excited about this strategy. I'm getting back into that game because I did so well from 2008 to 2016, right? So this right here is the most powerful way for you to begin to acquire property and then provide housing for organizations, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, lease to owns, seller financing. You actually broaden out your investment strategy to where you can attract more capital from a cash flow basis and a down payment basis. Think about it like this. if you were to sell a property, if you get a property subject to, right? Let's say, for instance, they owe $200,000, right? But and let's say, for instance, the valuation of the property is, let's say, is $250,000, right? Very little equity, right? You can sell finance the property out, right, at $250,000, and someone can give you a 10% down payment. So you owe $200,000 at a 2.5% interest rate. You sell a property via seller finance, creative financing, right? You get 10% down to $25,000 up front into your pocket. The promissory note that you would have with you was $225,000 minus your $200,000. You have a 25% delta there in equity there. Hello, or you can do a lease to own scenario with that same structure. You see how you can acquire a lot of properties in a fast amount of time by mastering this strategy. So make sure you with someone that knows what you're doing. You have a good attorney that knows subject to investing, a good insurance agent knows subject to investing. See what I'm saying? A good accountant, a good CPA, a wealth strategist. That's the power team. That's a power team, guys. Like this right here, guys, for me it changed my whole life. I made so much money subject to investing. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So I'm getting back into that, guys. Because right now it is ripe for this type of strategy right now, because people can't sell their homes. On days on the market, job transfer, don't want to pay capital gain taxes. You have a lot of older generation landlords, may own them free and clear, but they're looking to get out of the landlord game, and walks you. Do you see how structure for pain can provide can make you a whole bunch of income on it fast and ongoingly? It's called cash flow. Most powerful word in business is cash flow. All right, guys. Because I hope to help you out a little bit, guys. I've had a lot of fun doing this, man. Tomorrow, Cliff and I will be doing Real Estate Friday Live tomorrow at 5 p.m. CST. It's a little bit of a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about. Here we go. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Sir, there's a GC right there. Cliff.
Go. It's piers. We got concrete piers and wood piers.
Yes, sir.
Checklist. Check out the checklist. We got it for everything we need.
Yes, sir.
Right, you forget some things sometimes. So this is going to outline, make sure you hit every single thing. What's the foundation, plumbing, electric, painting, flooring, everything. So you don't miss anything.
Okay.
You want to make sure you get all your checks.
Okay. I want to introduce you guys to Cliff Hunter. Cliff is a world-renowned flipper. He actually flips. He's also a GC as well. He's a good contractor. When it comes to all of our renovations all over the nation, you'll talk to this guy right here. Guys, that is Real Estate Friday Live every Friday, guys, at 5 p.m. CST. Come kick it with Cliff and I, guys. We talk about all things real estate. It's called The Investor's Edge, cryptocurrency, and a strategy you can use immediately. We're going to talk about something a little bit more important tomorrow, most likely renovation, guys. We're going to talk about renovation techniques, guys, which is really good. Also, guys, real quickly here. Also, I am relaunching the Accountable Podcast interview series, guys. Here is a little bit of a sneak peek on what that will look like as well. Here we go. Let's get into it. One of the many questions that I receive is, Liddell, how do I get into those rooms? Well, this interview series is just for you. So welcome to the room.
We on now. They respect us cause we on now. Money up, run a whole town, don't we? This power money can't slow down. Money won't slow down.
Guys, that is the Cannibal Podcast that's going to be happening, I think, every other Thursday, guys. But I will get a mogul, and whether it be in business, finance, political, faith-based, teachers, politicians, you name it, come on. We chop it up a little bit, guys. We go from, when we get the whiteboard out, we write down how you went from 0 to where you at. We write down the formula. And maybe even bring you guys on to ask some questions. All right, guys? Well, guys, that's all I have for today, guys. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. You know, I end it every single time, guys. Before you leave, everyone, while you can. Oh, my bad, guys. You see it. Also, we're fast, guys. We are giving away our free ebook, guys, called Distressed Property Investing, guys. It is how to locate distressed properties in city, county, state, right, guys? And I tell you, you make money when you buy, not when you sell. Okay? It's free ebook. Download. How you get access to it? It's simple. DM me the word real estate, right? Click on the QR code right there. It fills out a little survey, which is fine. Or DM me the word real estate. We get you the link, and all the others a link in the show notes, guys. Go ahead and click on it, guys, and you got it. All right. Lastly, guys, also, guys, I want you guys to memorize a word called digital banking. 2 words: digital banking. Digital banking, guys. Digital banking is taking over. Fintech, digital banking, guys. This right here is the greatest time for you to begin the business, right? By partnering with a digital bank, guys. All right. Let me ask you a question. What if you can actually get paid? They sound someone actually swipes their card, or use their phone. Now, why is it so important? Well, the average American uses their card, swipes their card or other phone 30 times a month, right? Now, what if you're getting paid 5 cents per swipe? Okay. Now, multiply that figure times 100 times 10 people, 20, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000 people. All because you offer them a better deal when it comes to banking. Okay, guys? Again, free information, guys. Do me a favor, if you want any information at all, scan the QR code on the screen, DM the word mentor on the screen right there, guys. Or in the show notes below, you'll see a link. Click on the link, guys, and go to it and look at the free information. It's free. It is free. All right, guys, to learn about it. All right, guys. Well, man, I got to go. Brother's kind of hungry, but I get to see you guys tomorrow. You know, I end every time, equal time, guys. Before you leave while you can, you see that thing, baby. Take a picture for your mom and them. Holla at your partner. God bless you guys. See you guys tomorrow. All right, y'all. Peace.
Okay, so you did fixes and flips first, or were they? Now it sounds like you're more buying whole. Okay, so you're wholesaling first. Okay,
because I was broke. I had no credit. I had no money. So I had to get some money coming in. So I learned how to do wholesale.
And you were doing wholesaling at the good time too. 2000. When it wasn't so saturated. There was.
I kind of saw the debacle coming. Okay, it didn't make any sense. I was like, wait a minute, how can you lend out to retail buyers 99.7%?
Yeah,
just a little bit of a down tick. It's insolvent.
And you got to remember, in some states, because I lived in Florida at the time, you could have loan to value above 100% of your property.
Right.
The first property that I bought, it was 110%. We left the bank with like $30,000.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It was amazing to me. I was like, why am I not doing this all the time? But then clearly 08, 09 let me know why people shouldn't have been doing that all the time.
08, 09, that's why I made that lion's share of my money.
Wow. Okay.
Actually running from the cows, I was running to it.
Of course.
Because I saw it was coming.
Okay.
A lot of my business colleagues back then were buying flippers.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was wise for me to share 50% of my profit with Uncle Sam. He didn't do no work.
Okay.
So why would I give him free money?
Of course.
Okay, how can I make sure I'm still legal, but keep the lion's share of the cash flow?
Of course.
So I began studying the tax code with my accountants and CPAs, and I said, okay, I'm going to buy a whole lot of properties. Now watch this. I actually buy a lot of properties. I take home money when I actually acquire it. Every single time.
Okay, you need to break that down just a little bit.
If you'd like to learn how successful real estate investors make money when they acquire real estate and not when they sell it, click on the link below, swipe up, DM me the word to real estate to download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed. I'll let your partner and download the ebook today. What's good, guys? It's your partner, Dale. here, man. Hey, I always say that when it comes to real estate, I think this is the best time, the next 3 to 5 years is the best time, in my opinion, to begin to invest in real estate, whether you are a seasoned investor or a novice investor. This is the best time, in my opinion, to invest in real estate. Now, why would I say that? It's very simple. Whenever there is some stagnation within the real estate industry, that's the best time to get deals, right? Deals are what attract the capital, right? A good deal will always attract good capital. Now, what's a good deal? Well, I like buying distressed properties below wholesale. The skill to buying right is learning how to locate distressed properties in your city, county, or state. Now, the good thing about it is we are giving away a free ebook called Distressed Property Investing. We talk about different ways of locating distressed properties in your city, county, state, what to look for, who to call, things of that nature. It is free. Once you master this type of skill of locating distressed properties, you'll never be broke ever again, because good deals attract the right capital. All right, guys? So to get the free ebook, click on the link below, scan on the QR code here on the screen, or you can DM us the word real estate and my team will get you out this free ebook. Again, it's completely free. Just want to get you this information so you can begin to get the bag while buying real estate. Stay blessed and holla at your button.
Let's go. Long live the